Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fishley. Welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to be looking at Naval Action, a new game that's in very early alpha. At the moment, the alpha is only testing the combat phase of the game. But from what the developers are saying, this game intends to be much larger in scope, where you'll be able to sail around a very large, persistent world, trading, fighting, pirating, that sort of nonsense. In the current combat trials, it's pretty simple to advance. They start you off with the smallest ship you can get, and say do so much damage with this ship to advance to the next ship. It's a basic but functional way to test out all the ships in the alpha. There are currently 14 ships in the game, ranging in size from the tiny little Lynx with its 8 cannons total, all the way up to the gigantic, let me butcher a name here, Santissima Trinidad, with its massive 130 plus guns. To give you an idea how this game plays, I'm going to show you some recent footage from a game I had in the HMS Surprise. Well, here we are. As you can see, it's not a bad looking game. The game's graphics can look stunning at sunset and in stormy weather, but sadly this replay doesn't have either. The interface is a little minimal at the moment, but as this is still early alpha, there's plenty of room to change. One of the things I hope they add is a slightly clearer indication of which cannon banks are firing. And there goes my first round shot. Now you may have noticed that I only fired one round at that point. And that's a technique basically to work out your range. Fire one round, if it goes long, fire another one, if it goes short, fire in the middle. Use your telescope to confirm a hit, and once you're sure, let the rest of the broadside follow. That's of course assuming that you have a clear line of fire, which I currently don't. That grey blob in front of me is a fortress, which I'll show you more about later in the video. Ah, bugger. Well, to explain what happened there, me and that enemy ship are on a slightly converging course, and the time it took me from aiming initially to passing the fortress, when I finally fired, all my shots went over the top. It happens. It's always a good idea to keep one eye on the ships around you, even friendlies, as sometimes they're too busy looking down their own gun barrels and not where they're sailing. Now I've just told my crew to go into gunnery mode. There are 3 modes in the game: sailing, gunnery, and survival. Sailing lets you set, take in, and adjust your sails quicker. The gunnery gives you faster reload, which is indicated by the circles in the middle of the bottom screen. And finally, survival lets you pump out your bilge quicker when you start sinking. Once again, I aim a little high and most of my shots fall over the top, but a few hit the upper deck and hopefully knocked out a gun or 2. Now, while I've been happily laying shells into this guy, he's not happy about it and is about to return the favour, I think. Ow. Oh bugger, here it comes. Look at the amount of iron in the air. That was fairly lucky. All those shots flew high. That ship is a 74 gun ship of the line, while HMS Surprise is only rated as a 6th rate frigate by the British and a corvette by the French. Now, as this is a light frigate, the heaviest armament I have is currently 12-pounder long guns on the line. I could put 32-pound carronades, I believe, on, but they have an extremely short range. So that being the case, I have very little chance of penetrating or doing severe damage to that big old 74, and at this top range anyway. Another option is to target his rigging. Putting balls or chain shot up into the rigging has a chance to knock away spars and cause damage to the canvas. There's also a chance to knock out a mast or 2, which greatly reduces his ability to sail. On some of the stormy maps, it's not uncommon to see people firing at the rigging of opposing ships. It's simply the easiest target when the sea's rough, and as such, it's not unusual to see 3 or 4 dismarked ships by the end of it. One of the best aspects of this game is definitely its sound design. When the cannons start firing in this game, the sound just never stops. In a big battle, the echo and rolling thunder across the water is amazing to listen to and really immerses you in the game. So unlike that big old 74 who I'm doing 0 damage to with these shots, I'm starting to take significant damage. I'm going to turn away and start my repair work. Before I turn away, I take one more opportunity to shoot Captain Jack. This turns out to be a mistake, as he returns fire and severely injures my ship. One of those hits was a critical leak. I stay on course for a little bit longer, trying to offload one more broadside into Captain Jack. With my ship sinking fast, I rush the shot viciously attack the sea. That whistling you can hear is me changing my crew to survival mode. In survival mode, they pump out the bilge quicker, which helps you stay afloat. They also are able to effect repairs quicker. So as soon as I let go of that broadside, I immediately started turning away, I put more sails on, and I started to repair the hull. To understand how your ship has been damaged, there's a diagram in the top left corner provided. The blue bars indicate the strength of your ship on that side. As that depletes, it's easier to take critical damage through that side of the ship. The good news is that there is the possibility to repair damage in battle. You have up to 3 chances to repair either your armor, your sails, your rudder, or your pump. Selecting armor repair will increase the strength of your sidewalls, it will repair leaks, and it will remount knocked out cannons. The rest of the repair options work as advertised. Sails fix sails, pump fixes the pump, rudder fixes the rudder. Though none of these repairs are 100%. If you've had all your sticks sent overboard, you'll be happy to get a stub of mainmast back and a scrap of canvas just so you can turn the ship around to fire at someone. Now while we wait for the crew to repair the ship and me to turn back into the battle, let's just speed up the footage. So now I'm sailing to help Game Expert in his brig, who's currently taking on HMS Trincomalee, which, as a 38 gun frigate, may just outclass the brig somewhat. As I get closer, I open fire with my bow chasers to try and distract him. He's so intent on destroying that brig that he's not paying me any attention. So much so that I think double shot will be the order of the day now. I fire my bow chasers again once they're reloaded, but having so few guns is actually quite hard to aim. Looks like I might have been a bit late. That brig is very close to sinking right now. Right, about time. He's turning hard to take me on now. He's turning hard using the manual sailing option. By adjusting your forward and aft sail in different directions, depending on the angle of the wind, you can really help your turn or hinder it if you do it wrong. I use my bow chasers and get some good hits into his side. He's downwind to me at the moment, which is forcing his ship to heel over. Because of that, the slope of his gun deck is actually making it impossible for him to lower his aim far enough to hit me. I'm able to finally bring my guns to bear and unleash the entire broadside. At close range but double shot, it severely damages him. Right there, he tried to reverse his sail and slow down, but I had already preempted that and started turning my own sail. The mistake I made then was I rotated my foremast spars, and that drove my nose downwind, which made me collide with Mr. Davy Jones. This ends up actually being a decent move, but it could have ended in disaster with lost spars, masks, etc. Now this is where the trick comes in. Have a look at where his gun ports are. Right now, every single one of them is pointed way over my deck. The only thing he can hit is my rigging. Just as my broadside becomes ready again, I pull in the sails, reducing my speed but not before I'm able to get off my shots. But as soon as I get off my shots and the speed has been reduced slightly, I reapply the sails. This has the effect of dropping about half a ship's length behind Mr. Davy Jones, effectively cutting his broadside in half. I try the same move again and he preempts me, forcing me to overshoot. I back my sails to try and lose as much speed as possible, but the sheer weight of his ship is pushing me out of the way. It's a lost cause. He's going to get around behind me. But he's not going to get away unscathed. That should have hurt him. For what we're about to receive. That fire did significant damage to both our ships. After that broadside, I realised I've sailed into the eye of the wind and have lost all way and been taken aback. I quickly adjust my sails to try and get back into the wind. At the same time, I want to try and maintain my broadside to the enemy. I've set my foremast flat to the wind, whereas my mainmast and mizzenmast are currently parallel to the wind. This is having the effect of driving my nose around. I'm taking on way too much water now. I have to send my crew to the survival mode, get the pumps working. I also use up my last repair to try and seal any leaks and get some of the armor back. So once again, I'm trying to spill some wind from my sails to slow down and drop behind him so that I can get back upwind of him. I take the opportunity to throw both my bow chasers into him at point blank range. Right, he's starting to turn hard to starboard to try and get his guns on me. I'm going to start following him, but instead of trying to match his turn, I'm going to cut left and rake his stern. He cottoned onto what I was trying to do. He's turning back hard the other direction, but I still got the first shot into him. Right, as he unloads into me, I'm going to cut back to starboard and hopefully lay another round into his stern. Oh, I might have misjudged this. He's slowed down as well. And crunch, there goes my bows. Right. Right, I'm going to keep pushing into him to try and get around his stern still. Finally fall off his stern and get my loaded broadside around. First shot goes wide, the rest connect. He's starting to really hurt now. I turn in again to try and rake him once more. I see he's turning to give me a broadside, and I start backing my sails. And I lose just enough speed and his shots all go in front of me. That was quite lucky, my ship can't take much more. Unleash another torrent of lead into his stern. Now I must take my due. Looks like Mr. Davy Jones has decided to leave the battle. With my rigging torn up, I can't catch him. I put another shot into his stern, and then I realised that he's sailing right towards the fortress. That fortress has been taken by one of our smaller ships, and the small ship has a small crew. There are two things Davy Jones could be attempting up here. Either he's going to try and take the fortress, which he would lose about 50 people, I'm going to guess, out of his 250 plus crew, or he'll try and take the brig, which is undamaged through this entire battle. The brig is currently unmanned as all the crew are in the fortress. Actually, no, it looks like he didn't realise the fort was occupied. He's now swerving away. Is he trying to get a broadside on me? No, I swing to the right a bit just to get my guns on. And after a few rounds, I realised that my double-shotted guns don't have the range to hit him now. He's now taking fire from the fortress. He manages to put a broadside into me, but doesn't do a huge amount of damage, luckily. I use my bow chasers to hit him once more. I think he's panicking now. Most of those shots went well wide of me. good hits then, but I think I'm now critical. I've got no more repairs. I'm in survival mode and I'm still taking on water. My time is now limited. One more broadside, my only option is to get to that fortress in front of me. If I make it, I can stay in the battle and provide support. And finally that's over. Davy Jones has sunk. That was a tough battle. Fun though, a lot of fun. And that's my fight done. About 600 meters short of the fortress, I finally take on too much water and sink. Though I let off one spectacular smoke show just before I sink. As one final bit, I'll show you what ended up happening at the end of this game. The rest of my team failed basically and was sunk, and the two enemy 74s had to take on that fortress that held me. Now, I don't believe they knew how to board, or they didn't want to board for some reason. And in the end, they just sat there unloading broadside after broadside into this fortress at point blank range, until it finally cracked. Quite spectacular to watch, but not the quickest method. So that's Naval Action. A fun game so far. I hope it keeps getting better. If you're still watching at this point, thank you for watching. Like, favorite, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.